feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled.
Well, another wonderful week. Even though they said it was going to rain, it didn't. But there you go. Those weathermen, you know, they always drive me nuts. And back with us this week, we have the 10 rested and ready Josh.
Yes, sir.
Did you, like I asked you earlier, did you even take your shirt off down there?
I did. And
Yeah, you're good.
like I said earlier, I did, in fact, get a tan. It's just my family's too Scottish for it to really matter.
Yeah, I guess so. Are you really proud of the Scot and all this other stuff? You got to go to Scotland if you haven't. I was there twice, but it's been like, gosh, mid to late 80s, so it's been so long. It's a beautiful country and really interesting people and all that. So when you take your shirt off, do you become a chick magnet?
Wouldn't say that much.
No, you wouldn't say that much. Okay. Well, anyway, I have Tina Michael here, and now she's a published author as well as a spokesman for Mobius syndrome, which is not a really common ailment, is what you were telling me.
No, it's 100 or 1 in 500,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as far as my platform has grown a little bit more, as being an advocate for any disability, honestly.
Well, you know, I read your book, and we're going to talk a lot about the book. I read most, the love letters you would write to your children. It's private, but anyway, no, I just moved up. But I read mostly about your childhood, and also about meeting your husband and things of that nature, and also particularly about the role your mother played in all of this. And we'll be talking all about that and about where you can get the book and whatever else, and the process of writing it, publishing it, etc. And so we've got a lot to talk about. So let's get to the sponsors so we can get to the fun stuff. I guess it's all fun. Yeah. Well, and you and Otto are very good friends, aren't you, Tina?
Yes, sir. Otto is really good to our city, and he's just a good person.
And it's chess night tonight at Gina's, I believe.
It is, and my chess boy is at band camp, so his mom and I might have to go run that.
Okay. Well, I was at not Gina's, our place this morning with my Sunday school men. Every other week we get together and bellyache about college football or the world or whatever else, and you know, it's a good time. It says food is good, service is good, you know, and that's why you choose it, because we know what we're going to get, and it's, you know, the waitresses, you know us pretty well, so they know when we're ready to order and when they're not, and that kind of thing. But over the pizza joint, I always enjoy that. I go there 2-3 times a month. I'll be there next Monday night, I know, because my mom, holy moly, my wife is having prayer meeting, so I got to get out of the house. You know, they don't want to hear all their gossip. I don't know what it is. But anyway, but it's a great pizza. And of course, you know, like I said, it's chess night tonight. Tomorrow night's bingo. Wednesday night's karaoke. And then, of course, Sunday night they have the live music, which is an event. You know, it's really a big deal sometimes when they have like Susie Morgan and her crew, and that it's always a good time. I'm a little hoarse today. All that junk in the air.
Uh-oh.
Well, anyway, but thank you for Otto, not just for the good service and good pizza, but all the other community-related things you do. Also, my good buddy John at Old Pro Roofing, the most disappointed man in North Texas that we did not have bad weather. 817-734-2756. So come check your roof out. I've had 5 now roofers call me in the last month, about 2 weeks even. One to come check my roof out. And I'm like, I don't know you. You know, some call center somewhere. I know I wanted to do business with people I know, for one thing, and hometown folks. So, you know, Pro Roofing's right here in the middle of Old Town. So, and I've been here for about 20 years. You know where to find them. You know what kind of quality you're going to get. So call John at 817-734-2756. And he'll tell you if you have any roof damage or not. If you do and you need insurance help, they'll be able to provide that as well. Because, you know, wrestling with insurance companies, that's a chore. Also, my friend Jeff Kelly with the Wethington Agency, 817-781-0546. If you want to move in and around this area, that's the man to talk to, because he has homes that are listed, but he also knows where the properties are. He knows about buying property and who to talk to there and all this other business. So talk to Jeff. Also check out his Burleson Joke of the Day page on Facebook. If you're not following that, his jokes are groaners. I mean, they're, you know, dad jokes to the extreme. Anyway, 817-781-0546. And my buddy Rod Lewis, I got the newspaper. I'm on a subscription list now, and I got my newspaper this weekend, and it's about, this week's headline is about the Burleson's mosquito spraying process, because people need to know that, and they don't even know where to find that kind of information out unless they go look for it at the websites, which not everybody does. Not many people do, in fact. So the News Express is designed to try to bring local information to all these people. Oh goodness, I get a. Yeah, right, there you go. I hit the wrong button again. I do this a lot when I'm trying to share episodes. Anyway, you can pick up Burleson News Express. I know one place is Daydream, and we'll talk about that because that's where you had your opening book signing, is it not?
Yes, sir.
And so, how did you know them, by the way?
Well, when my twins were in kindergarten, Pook, the owner, her son was in kindergarten as well, and they were in the same class for years, and I was always the room mom, and she donates as much as Otto to the city.
Oh, you bet she does.
Yes, she does. And so, as a matter of fact, she donated her service for my book signing and all the food even, and said she wanted the proceeds to go to Pac-Man. So,
okay, we're going to talk about that as well, which is
just a great lady.
Yeah, well, she's a former student. The whole family is, yes.
She was telling me that actually the other day.
Well, what's interesting is because I haven't seen her in 2 or 3 months, but when I saw her, and I promise you, the last time I saw her, she doesn't look like she's a mother of a teenage kid or anything like that.
Well, her daughter just graduated high school.
Yeah,
and they look the same.
Yes, I know. But she's a blessing to this community.
Love her.
And True Climate, another blessing to our community, 682-244-2019. If you need somebody to look at your HVAC, this is the one you need to look at because you can get a $99 a year deal. And it's really helpful because that way it's like buying insurance almost. For $99, you'll get steep discounts on any kind of air conditioning or heating related services, and you need to have your HVAC serviced or looked at least. You look at the beginning of the summer climate season and then the winter, because if you go out during the winter and have no heat, it's a real problem, and same with air conditioning. It's even worse.
I was going to say summer's worse.
Summers are worse. So again, 682-244-2019, Will Cobb or his sister Emily Cobb will answer that phone and do you right. Also, we have one other event coming up that I want to make sure we cover, and that is on Thursday night over at the Forest Hill Civic Center. You're going to have the public meeting with we're trying to stop Heritage Creek wastewater treatment. Say it right. Michelle Quant was on the show last Monday, and she's telling people, trying to inform people about this Heritage Creek waste plant that's coming, this wastewater plant that's coming up. It's going to severely affect the not just the environment around it, but the property values all around that area, and that there's a great deal of discrepancies in the application that's been given to the authorities that make these things happen or allow these things to happen. So they're having a big meeting Thursday at 7:00 at Forest Hill Civic and Convention Center. Michelle would very much appreciate you being there for that, because even if you don't live in the area, it's off 1187. All right, even if you don't live there, it's still going to could affect Bethesda Water.
I saw that show or listened to that show, and I had no idea.
I didn't either, and until Michelle called me about a month and a half ago and said, and I taught her daughters and her son, and they said, "Hey, I need to get on your show. Is that possible?" Sure. And so there you go. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, go back to last week and watch that show again, or listen to it, and you'll get more information. But we're not trying to damage people's reputations, but there are some problems that I don't think have been addressed in that whole issue, and she's got a lot of concerns about it. So there you go. All right, let's talk about you for a while. Okay, first of all, your book. Josh, I think you have a shot of that, and there you go. My mama would have fought you. From what I read, it sounded like that's not just a metaphor.
No.
Yeah.
There's a line in there. My mama would have fought you, and then she would have made you a casserole after and make sure that you were fed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so after she gives you a beating, she's going to make sure you're well fed and nutritious. Okay.
That was her thing.
Oh boy, that's funny, but that's typical, isn't it? Anyway, here I've got to respond to the wife. You know, when I text, I don't care if you're on the air or not, you're going to respond. Anyways, there you go. So the basic theme of the book is you were born with Mobius syndrome. So for those who don't really know what that is, why don't you describe that to us?
Okay. Mobius syndrome affects the 6th and 7th cranial nerve in your brain. Some have more severe cases than others, so the nerves are not developed. And then, so there's different, different disabilities that go along with that. People with Mobius syndrome can't move their eyes. They definitely cannot move them up and down, and most of us can't move them side to side. So I have no peripheral vision. I have to turn my head. That would be the thing that really affects me the most, I believe. But also our smiles. We have a saying in our community, we smile with our hearts, because we're not, most of us have weak facial muscles. There are some severe cases that have club feet, missing limbs, things like that. But back in 1979, I mean, even today, doctors haven't really heard of Mobius syndrome. So back in 1979, I was diagnosed with everything under the sun that I didn't end up having.
Do most people confuse that with, say, other symptoms like Bell's palsy or something like that?
Yes. Every time I go, even today, every time I go to the doctor, I'm asked, a new doctor, I'm asked if I have Bell's palsy or if I've had a stroke.
Right.
So my stroke risk is actually higher because if I do have a stroke, I'm not going to have the symptoms that most people have. And so it might be missed.
It's so you're born. Did the doctors right away notice this situation?
Yeah.
Or is this something that developed as you grew?
No, it's congenital. You're born with it. They noticed back, I don't think, and my mom's not here anymore, so I can't ask her, but back then, they didn't really do routine ultrasounds, I don't think, as much as they do now. And so my mom had healthcare, but I don't think she had an ultrasound, so they did not know until I was born, but there was definitely something wrong once.
Would an ultrasound actually have detected this?
Honestly, that's a good question. I believe it probably would have. I'm sure with looking, like I said, it's nerves. So they're cranial nerves. So that's a really good question. I don't know.
Well, okay. And as far as like any treatment, really, this is something you treat the symptom.
Yes.
But there's really not much you could do about it other than that, right?
No, there's not a cure at all. So just going back, like I said, I was diagnosed with several things. And my mom passed away thinking that my disability was her fault. So I wasn't even diagnosed until after she was gone.
You can tell us as much as you want to know, but why would she think that?
Well, it's in the book. That's okay.
I'm going to ask you some things that I read about, but I want you to be able to explain.
I was just saying I don't mind. I'm an open book. We can talk about whatever. My birth father, which I have never met, was abusive to my mom, and he pushed her down a flight of stairs when she was pregnant with me, and I believe that she died thinking that fall caused my disability.
Is that even possible?
No,
I didn't think so. There is a scripture verse that I always think about that we are well and wonderfully made. I think God has certain protections for that kind of happenstance, you might say.
Yeah.
And so, that's our pregnancies go the way they do and that kind of thing. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I have no doubt that your mom felt that way, because all parents feel like whatever's happening to their child, they felt like they should have or could have prevented. And that's not always the case, obviously.
No, and actually my mom never had any other children, because I think that she, and what's odd is Mobius syndrome, I believe there's one case that I know of that have a relation. So if you have one person in your family with it, usually there's not another. It's not hereditary. It's just, I'm going to call it a fluke.
Well, I've heard that your mom's story many times from other people that, parents of Down syndrome children or autistic children, they felt like, what could I have done differently? How could I have handled the pregnancy differently? Did I not eat the right foods? On and on and on. Even though they probably took very good care of themselves in all cases that I know of. It just, these things happen, right? But the parents still feel the burden of it.
Well, as a perspective, as being a mama myself, and then also being a child, I can say, and being a Christian, I know that's not, we don't usually, it's not politically correct, but my opinion is that it takes a really special person to be a parent of someone with a disability. And my belief is, I'm not going to say God gives battles to his strongest soldiers, because I don't believe that. But I believe that people who are parents of a child with a disability, God trusted them for that. And I want to believe that. I mean, going back to like the I don't know, have you heard about the couple that had a child with Down syndrome and decided to terminate?
Yeah, it's some Instagram influencer that I don't know about.
I've never heard of them.
I don't deal in that world. Josh, you know what she's talking about?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
did not follow the couple.
No, I didn't either. I never heard of them until then. But I mean, and we can go back to I can say, we don't even have to just debate that topic. But I believe that most parents, once they have the child, and I can't say all, I mean, they told my mom to institutionalize me before she got too attached. I've heard that from aunts, and I'm just blessed that she didn't listen, because I would have adapted to that environment. And if I would have been sent to a home, I wouldn't have had the upbringing and the people who fought for me to get to where I am. And I do think that you adapt to your environment, and you don't always realize your potential.
In the book, you talk about your school experiences.
Oh, school was horrible.
And how you dreaded it, and how it was a painful experience some days, and some days even more so.
I hated school until, honestly, in high school, it got a little bit better. And my mom always told me, as you get older, it will get better. And it's hard to believe that too. I mean, even my children, they are blessed. They don't have any disabilities, but I tell my daughter, it will get better. And she rolls her eyes at me just the same way.
Well, I, as a teacher of high school students, I think that's a true statement, though, because I saw many of my students relate to the special needs kids on our campus, those with Down syndrome or severe autism and whatever else, or people in their own classroom that were mainstream that had some learning disabilities or maybe emotional disabilities. And I saw them in some ways really step up and take care of them in some ways, so I do believe that the environment today, even though it surely is not perfect at all, is better than it was when you and I were in high school.
In the 80s and 90s, yeah.
And I was in late 70s, high school is hard enough as it is, all the hormones and the insecurities and all this other business. But I do believe that many of the kids now are more adapted to having somebody in their presence that has disabilities of some sort. And they're not uncomfortable with it like they would have been 30 years ago. Because to be frank, when I was in high school, kids that were severely autistic scared me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's understandable. A lot of it comes with maturity. I mean, when I was a little kid, there's a passage in this book that when I was probably 6 years old, these boys would get in a circle around me and push me down. And I'd get back up and they'd push me down again, and I'd get back up over and over and over. And I don't know if the teachers didn't see them. I don't know if they ignored it. I know that I was told, just start swinging. And I know things are different today, but and I don't know if I would tell my children the same thing, but my mom really tried to teach me to defend myself. I mean, and we're going to give the story. I didn't hit anything but the air. But later, when I was about 20, the leader of that group apologized to me. And so that really meant more to me than anything else growing up.
there isn't. You can say, well, they're little kids and all this, and try to make excuses. But it also, if my child or either one of my children had done something like that to you, there'd have been severe repercussions at home. Now, and I'm very glad to say neither my son nor my daughter would have participated in such a thing. And then probably knowing them both, they would have stood right beside you and started swinging with you. Because I know when they were growing up, that happened a couple of times when a couple of their peers were getting pushed around. They stood up and said, well, I'll take a piece of that too. I remember my daughter one time, there were a couple of big guys were teasing this poor girl who had she was physically disabled to some degree, and she goes up there and chews their butt out and dropping a few words in there that she did not hear at home or in Sunday school. And those two boys were pretty well chastened, and they apologized to this girl. And then I'm on campus. She was my daughter was on campus the same time I was. She comes in the room and she's bawling. I go, what happened? And she's said some bad words. And, oh, well, okay, just don't do it again. And she told me why, and they said, we're good.
It's always intent. I mean, I think as we mature, I was like that. Well, not when I was younger. I probably didn't speak a word until I was about 18 years old. I went to high school with some people who I know now, and they're like, you can talk, because I am so loud. And so I got bullied so much as a child. I don't stand for that either. I will fight a 6'3" grown man over. There's a man who works at Whataburger here in Burleson, and he's got the same name as my oldest son. His name is James, and he is the greatest employee ever. And I went in there late one night, and this guy was giving him a problem, and I kind of went off on him just a little bit, and it wasn't probably the right thing to do because it was a little bit dangerous. But there were some high school kids behind me who were like, they started clapping when the guy walked out the door, and they were like, man, we're going to walk you to your car to make sure he's not waiting out. But yeah, I don't stand for that. And I'm not always right about it, and I don't always handle it the right way, but my heart's in the right place.
And back when we were kids, you could get picked on for anything, not much less a disability of some sort. You could be picked on because, I don't know.
Well, it's still the same today.
Figure out the reason. We hear a lot about bullying, but I also think that we've done a better job in educating kids that it's not a good idea. It's very uncool, and it's very wrong. And not everybody takes the message. But there is some that have, like the episode you just described.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we go overboard a little bit. Like I always tell my kids, they'll come home, I'm being bullied. And I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. We need to redefine, I think, in schools, because we've gone a little bit, and I can say that as someone who was bullied. I think and I know words hurt. I know, but that some of the things are just minor. Do you see what I'm saying? I think maybe we've gone a little.
Well, it's going to happen, and that's all there is to it. But as a former bully, Josh, why don't you tell us from that perspective?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Be honest with me. You think I was a bully?
Heck no.
No, I was the kid getting back up and swinging.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I remember when I was a kid, somebody was pushing me around, got in a fight, called my parents, and I'm like, oh, God, I'm in real trouble now. I don't care what this teacher's going to do. And my dad says, what started with this and that and the other? And he just swing back. Yeah. He goes, did you connect? Yeah, a couple of times. Well, good for you. And that kind of thing. I mean, that was just a different world back then. Just, scuffling teenage boy or
now
elementary
things are
boys.
dangerous though, because you don't know what the other person has. And
now academically, does Mobius syndrome ever prove to be an impediment?
It does. Like I said, there's degrees of disability. So with Mobius syndrome, it has. I don't want to say a lot, but some of us are on the spectrum, and then some have learning disabilities. And then as far as like social, I would say like, I don't want to say a social disability. That's not the right word, but some of us are more socially adept than others. And like I said, I did not speak a word until I was 18. So I don't know. I don't think that that's necessarily part of the physical disability itself. It's just an environmental thing you become accustomed to.
Well, surely I'd like to think that not everybody in your educational experience was harsh and hateful, that you had some friends.
I did. Yeah, I had friends, and mostly I think once I found the church, it really did help. Yeah, I mean, I did have some friends, and I had 2 best friends that would fight for me if they needed to. And what's funny is my best friend is so quiet, and so but if I needed someone to stand up for me today, she still would.
Well, those friends from high school last a long time. I still see some of them. I have about 3 or 4. I also went to college with about 3 or 4 of them. So high school and college, we have that double connection, if you will. But I still am connected with several of my high school friends because those things in high school. They leave an impact for life, you know, and it seems like, that, and sometimes when you look back on high school now, I look back at my high school and I was fortunate because I had good friends that kept me out of trouble. We weren't the kind of go riding around drinking beer. We weren't saints and angels, but we weren't troublemakers either. Our biggest pranks are usually involving fireworks at 2 a.m., that kind of thing. But I'm just saying that, those kind of memories are the ones that stick with you, I hope. But I'm sure there were some unpleasant things.
Do. And like I said, it got better in high school. I think middle school was probably the hardest.
No doubt.
I tell my daughter that even, like I said, just being I don't want to say normal, that's not the right word, but being a child without a disability, middle school is hard. I think 7th grade is probably the hardest.
It is, and I taught it, and I still wake up screaming. My first year at 1988 was at Hughes Middle School teaching 7th grade Texas history, and then the next year I taught 9th grade when the 9th grade was at that facility, not at the high school. Middle school, it's hell. I mean, it's got to be. If it ain't hell, it's purgatory at least, and it's rough. And on teachers, on kids, and a lot of the emotional events of one's youth happen around 8th and 9th grade. I remember I had like 9th grade. I had about 200 students. At any one time, about half a dozen to 10 were in some sort of rehab facility for emotional problems.
Goodness.
Yeah, and I had to prepare lessons and all that other stuff. But I would say at one point I think I counted 12 that were at local facilities for emotional and other type of addictions maybe. But mostly it was emotional disturbances. And it was just like, wow, what have I gotten into? Because I didn't know it was that much. And I was in the 9th grade or 8th grade or whatever else. They dealt with it a lot differently. Let's put it that way. So
it's just maturity.
Well, just the schools dealt with it differently. The discipline was different, and all this. And a kid that was seen as weird back then now could be diagnosed as autistic or having some other emotional disturbance.
Well, and we've done better, and things that were like taboo and stuff back then, or you would get made fun of. You are normal, are considered. Okay now, like things we wouldn't talk about back then, just like if a girl had hair on her legs when I was in 7th grade, she'd get made fun of if she didn't shave. Now people, they don't care. We're just more accepting. I
guess I don't remember that part.
You would get made fun of if you.
Well, in my case, it was acne.
Yeah, acne. Like I don't think kids really get made. I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions, but I think they wear those. My daughter wears the little stars on her face, the pimple patches, and I'm like, Elise, why would you want to? That draws attention to it, and she's like, oh, and it's acceptable now.
Oh yeah, I get even DBU students to do that, and I just think it's.
We would try to
even think about it.
We would try to conceal it and not put a star on it.
You get the old clear seal out and all this other stuff, but as far as other parts of the book, how did tell for the audience how you met your husband?
Okay, well, my husband went to UTA and I went to DBU. I think we've talked about this before. And we met when I was 20 and I think I was almost 19. And because we got married pretty fast when I was when I was
wow,
20.
a DBU girl getting married early. I never heard of that before.
I know, right? No, DBU. Yeah. So
they do produce a lot of marriages. I've had 3 or 4 students over the years I've taught there that got married either during or right after.
Well, not that it's wrong to get married so early, but I want to say, looking back, and I'm sure Lon was like, probably thought I was too young, that didn't want to, what do they say? If you ban something, then you're going to push your child closer towards. I'm sure she had her concerns, but looking back, that was what was expected. If you were in the church back then in the 90s, it was expected. So now, if I had to go back, not saying I wouldn't marry my husband, I might have not been like, I might not have felt like that was what I was supposed to do. And I might have waited a little bit.
It's possible, but God's timing is what it is.
Oh, of course.
And it can be very inconvenient, I've noticed over the years. Like, God, don't you realize there's a calendar? No, I guess not. Anyway, but the point is that this man that you met, he must be a very special man, because whatever issues that some may have, he didn't have them, apparently. Well,
like I said, it did get better in high school, but as far as dating, my husband is very quiet. He, it makes me mad sometimes because I'm not quiet, but when he says something, it matters. And when he says something, it's important. So, we had dated for probably a month before I even mentioned. And he was like, I always thought he was lying. He's like, I didn't notice anything. And back then, my face wasn't as, I'm not going to say as paralyzed, but it wasn't as noticeable, I guess, because since then I've had a tumor and things that have made it.
We talked about that.
Yeah. But so he was like, I didn't even notice. And I thought he was patronizing me for the longest time, for probably 10 years. I'm like, you're patronizing. But after we had been married so long, I feel like, and had so many arguments, I feel like if he was actually, it would have come out. So to this day, I suppose he was telling me the truth.
Well, we'll go over that.
Yeah.
Husbands always tell the truth. Are you kidding me?
Well.
Okay. Well, anyway, but the thing about it is, I mean, if he didn't notice, he had to know your story. I mean, because I'm sure you told him.
Oh, yes. I just didn't tell him the first time we met. It took me a minute to open up. Yeah, of course.
How did y'all meet if you went to 2 different colleges?
Well, back in the day, do you remember when we had dial-up AOL internet?
Josh, you remember those days?
You remember that?
I do.
So,
all right. Yeah, I remember.
I forgot, honestly, how... we weren't like looking in like a dating thing or anything. Somehow we started talking and he was like, let's meet at the Starbucks on Cooper Street. And I was like, okay. So yeah, we just met, and then it turned out he was from Breckenridge, a little tiny town in West Texas, little tiny town.
Right.
And I was from Granbury, which is kind of like that. It's not now, but back then it was smaller. And we were very similar. My husband is very intelligent, though. And I don't consider myself like a dumb person, but I will say he is way smarter than me. And so it took me a little while, because I'm like, this man actually cares what I think and what I have to say. And look how smart he is, So, yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, must be true love.
I guess so. We got married. I think we met, I want to say we met in like February, and then not the next year, not the next November, but then one after that, we got engaged.
On DB's campus? I know there's weddings there a lot.
No. Okay. We got married in Granbury. Okay. That's another reason I knew he loved me. He was really shy. And for him to be willing to get up in front of a bunch of people and that wasn't his thing, but he was like, I'll do it for you. And so, yeah, we got married in church, which is also not his thing, but he was willing to.
There you go.
Yeah.
What does he do for a living?
He is an AVP at a bank.
Oh, well, I wanted to be a banker when I was much younger, and I ended up being a school teacher. So there you go.
Wow. Well, he was an English major, but yeah.
He had to make a living.
That is true. And then he, like I said, he was really smart. So he used to write music reviews for UTA, and it was back when they had CDs, and they would mail him a CD, and he wrote for their newspaper.
With a shorthorn.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. And
you know what a CD is, don't you, Josh?
or he's too young, probably.
Yeah.
No, I know what a CD is.
Okay.
I'm not that young.
He got a data entry job, and he was the fastest typer, and he just started moving up, and now he's
Christopher, and one of my former students, says normal is subjective. Love is acceptance of who you truly are. That's my hot take. All right. Hot take from Christopher Irvin.
I'm like, I didn't even see those comments. My eyes, they're right there.
No, I've known Chris Irvin for a while. He was a student at BHSN at Hill College. So there you go.
Nice.
Very, very fine man. Let's talk about your mom.
Okay.
All right, now, you go talk about it in your book about the passing of your mom.
Yeah.
And it's obvious. I think it's one of the central themes of your book.
It's the hardest thing I've ever had to go through in my entire life.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that long ago, but it wasn't yesterday. So
it's 20 years ago in November.
But but it seems like just yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of relate to that a little bit because I just lost my father and all this. But
sorry.
My mom is on her last days, but I don't have the same situation. They lived long lives, and I'll be 64 in a couple of weeks, and so I was able to live with them.
That's a blessing.
For a long time, right? Mm-hmm. But you lost her when she was, 48?
Yeah, my mom was 48, and I'm 46. So that's, I think that's, it's starting to hit me, but, and it was unexpected. I think if it wasn't like we knew this was coming, not even a week. I mean, it was that she told me good night and did not wake up the next morning.
That must have been pretty traumatizing, and you do describe that in the book. But still, that's something you just don't get past very easily. And I'm trying to make a comparison to my own situation. When my father passed, it was like he's at rest. We knew it was coming, and so we were kind of okay. This is the time. And same with my mom. She's declining very quickly, and so let's make what we can out of this. It's not the same thing as you experienced, where you just one day you get the phone call, I guess, or something like that.
No, it was actually very traumatic. My husband and I were moving into our into a new house, so we were actually spending the night with my parents the next day.
I'm sorry,
no, it's okay. The paramedics busted through the door. Yeah, so we thought we were being robbed.
I remember that now. But
no, it's okay.
Some of the details. I mean, like I read it as fast. It's kind of fast, but. So I had to be a little bit more conversant in it, but still, that's the way my grandmother died. But she was 82, but she just didn't wake up one day. And so for your mom to be 48 and this happened, it's not easy.
She had gone to the doctor that morning, and they didn't catch.
And so for the audience, what was exactly diagnosed as the problem?
Well. We never got an autopsy. And like I said, I was in my early 20s and I couldn't afford an autopsy. And they saved those for foul play, if they suspect foul play. So her death certificate says she died of a heart attack. But I mean, that's what we're assuming.
Well, maybe so. And it just, who knows? Maybe it's just God's time for it. That's that kind of thing. Not everybody. Those things are hard to say. It really is. It's hard to say. I didn't know. I'm going to segue here really quickly for a technical issue. Josh, am I getting my Facebook getting picked up?
Let me check. 2 seconds.
All right, because I don't see it on my phone. So let's see. Well, I think it is. Okay.
Yeah, we're still live.
Okay, good. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to
make sure.
Well, I wanted to make sure because I got like this signal that, it's not getting on this certain page, but then I got on another one. So there you go. It's all good to go. But anyway, just to make sure, back to your story. So this is before you had children, isn't it?
My oldest son had just turned 2.
Okay.
So he was little.
Mm-hmm. So he didn't really remember his grandmother.
No. And as far as it being her time, I can tell you that my mom always took care of me. And if she could give up heaven and come back here to suffer, she would. She would have given up all of heaven's glory to take care of me because, and I think with my children, my mom knew I couldn't do a lot of things and she did push me, but in some ways she took care of me too much a little bit. And so I tried to prepare. I was not prepared even.
A lot of moms do that. I'm married to a woman that's like, I said, Robin, you're going to have to let them skin their knees occasionally.
Yeah, I worked at Aetna when my mom passed away, and I was married, had a 2-year-old child. My mom would watch my child. I'd come home. We lived close. My house would be clean. She would have our dinner. Like she was just
what
really
a deal
good to us.
That's great. And that's what inspired you to write the book. Let's talk about the book writing process. Is this something that's been on your heart and mind for a long time? And you said, now I'm just going to do it?
Well, I've been thinking about it a long time. I've always wanted to honor my mom, and I've always wanted something to leave behind to my children. When my mom passed away, I don't have much left of her. Not many pictures, not many. I mean, we didn't have cell phones back then. Well, we had Nokia, but we didn't have the cameras and things. So I don't have pictures and things. And I don't feel like she was honored as much as she deserved. So when there was a time, we talked about this too last year, that I could not see, like I could not even see to get to the bathroom. So I actually wrote this book. It kept me going because I didn't feel that I had any purpose. I have to have a purpose. So, I mean, I love my family and I love my husband, but I have to have something outside of that. And when I couldn't see, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go volunteer and I couldn't. So I wrote this on my notepad on my phone. I couldn't see a laptop.
And so how long did it take you to write?
A year.
Okay. And then you find a publisher? Was it self-published or is it outside publisher?
No, I did self-publishing. I would love to have an outside publisher.
Yeah.
But no, I did. It was really intended I wrote this for myself. I didn't really think other people would want to read it. Like I was telling you, and I was very surprised that it did as well as it did.
Do you have Josh, can you pull up the Amazon page for this book? He's going to look for that.
Sure can.
Yeah.
I didn't even hire an editor, so if you find...
I'm sure you reread it many times.
I did hire a formatter because I couldn't format. I'm not very technical, but and I'm sure she skimmed it, but I'm pretty proud of not having an editor, so.
Well, about a month ago I had Brandon Crisp on, and he also self-published. But I think your books, you told me, how many just have sold, do you think?
Almost. It was like, I want to say 8,200.
Well,
that's counting Kindle
sales.
That's
right. And that's still pretty good. I mean, because, you're not like on a national book tour, but you did go to a book tour at Adrian Coffee, right?
I did. And, these people on national book tours, they have publicists. I didn't. I did this myself, all by myself. No, I did. We had an awesome time at Daydream, and I sold 51 copies.
There you go.
So, and I'm not in this to make money. I actually, you don't get paid anything for Kindle. It's like less than $1 because the pricing for my Kindle is like $4.99. And so, wait, that says 30. Oh no, I was like, I did not price that at $34. It's $24.
Was it? Well, that's Amazon's
it's
cut.
Hardcover, sorry.
No, the hardcover, they changed. I'm going to have to go in and fix that.
All right,
it's not supposed to be. Anyway, the paperback, yeah.
Okay.
So they do have some say in it. But like their Kindle, I don't even make $1 off of it. So, and I'm trying to donate most of the proceeds anyway, because that's what my mom would do.
Got any reviews yet?
I do. Not as many as I would like, but I think there's 9. I think.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So there's no bad ones, and some of them I don't even know the people who reviewed it.
Well, I mean, you got the 5 stars right there, and then on down. So that's pretty.
Yeah.
That's not. Hey, that's a big deal, though. It's like being on Amazon, being published, having people outside of your best friends and family buy books. That's a pretty good deal. People say, Allard, I'll write a book, and I said, my mom and dad can only buy so many copies, so I don't. So there you
and
go.
my mom's not here to buy a copy.
Yeah. So And there's Barnes and Noble.
Yes. And thank you to Franklin for I didn't even know I was on Barnes. Usually it's really hard to get into Barnes and Noble. So that was a big.
Franklin, that's Otto's grandson, right?
Yes.
Right.
That's a big accomplishment. And he asked me, are you on Barnes and Noble? And I laughed. I was like.
It's a cheaper price here, too.
I'm telling you, that Amazon thing is wrong. And so I'm going to have to go in and fix it. I don't know what happened. But we'll fix it when we're done here.
Now, you told me before the show that in about 6 weeks or so, you're going to be at the Barnes & Noble here and having a book signing.
Yes. There's one in Fort Worth actually in August.
Oh, so it's not the local one here?
But I could probably call the one local.
Well, I know which one it is. You're talking about the one that's off of Hewlin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I've been in there, lots of times. So how about that?
Yeah.
If you're going to go there, you'd say, hey, to the local ones, hey, I'm in Fort Worth. Why not in yours? And they... I don't know them personally, but I bet they're looking for foot traffic and all this other stuff.
Usually you would have to, like I was telling you, publish through KDP and then Ingram Spark, excuse me. I published through KDP, but you would have to publish through Ingram Spark to get picked up at Barnes & Noble. So I don't even know how that happened.
Well, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Besides... on this show, what other means are you using to try to publicize the books?
That's
the Facebook, social media.
I'm not at the public. I'm just not good at social media, really.
Neither am I.
People have told me do TikToks and things, and I've tried, not for the book, but for disability advocacy. I have a really hard time doing TikToks because I don't like to look at myself on video.
Hey, I don't either. But
I'm still
the camera. No, that old Chandler Bing joke. The camera adds 10 pounds, and so I got how many cameras on me? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you feel because when I first started doing this a few years ago, I couldn't bring myself to watch myself.
Yeah, I can't watch this.
Well, because of me? I'm sorry.
No, because of my face. I can't.
No, I'm just saying it took me a while for me to be comfortable to hear my own voice or seeing myself. And, and I'm not the only one. I've read about it. Movie stars that said, I don't watch myself because I can't do it. See, and I'm kind of cynical. And so it kind of makes me, not angry, but I'm kind of y'all are fine. You don't have any reason, you're overreacting. But I made a video for Facial Difference Week in May. And sometimes I have to talk myself and I have to say, Tina, are you more self-conscious about your face? Is that more important? Because you can't change your face. Or is it more important to use your face to make a difference? Now, you are involved in some charity work with this particular... Well, not just this, but keep that on the screen, if you will, the Pac-Man thing, but also through the Mobius Syndrome. You do Foundation, right? Are you having any kind of events coming up? Not until September. We're actually going to have an adult prom in Lost Oak. But October, excuse me. October. Well, if you want to be back on the show in August, I certainly need the programming, so to speak, and it's a good timing. Also, the September North Texas Giving Day. I don't even have to really tell Otto, but I will. But it's at Gina's. It's at Gina's. Oh, we'll be there. So, but anyways, talk about this Project Pac-Man here. Okay, so when I was a little kid, I didn't have a lot of friends in the neighborhood. I couldn't go ride my bike. Somehow every kid ended up at our house, every day. Kids I didn't even like. I'd be like, Mom, why do they have to be? So my mom fed everyone she could feed. The kids who didn't have any food, the kids who didn't have any hot water would come take showers at our house. We had children
that were taken away by CTS that my mom said, I will take you. And she wasn't a foster parent or anything. But anyway, this was her heart. And so I wrote this book because I wanted to honor my mom. So I believe that faith without works is dead.
It is.
I can I can say everything I want to say until I do something to make a difference. It's not honoring her. So I prayed really hard about which charity that I should help. And I saw this last September when I was at Gina's on your giving day. And
so it does pay off, guys.
It
All
does.
right.
And so this is what my mom would have done. So there are other worthy charities. There's the Harvest House and, House of Hope.
And I just came from Promises this morning.
But she would have fed these kids. That's what she would have done. So it makes sense to use some of the money that I made to do the same thing.
Well, when I started this show, it was September of 19, so I'm getting close on my 7-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
I had another purpose in mind, and now it's morphed into this, and I like this a lot better because I can rant about whatever.
What was the other? I'm just curious.
It was political commentary.
That's what I thought.
Current events, what's going on, and then my first nonprofit guest was Next Step, and this is when we were still doing it at the Hub, and it just one after another started coming in, and I think this is what the purpose has always been. As the Lord said, well, you may have had this idea, but I got a better one. And it's worked out pretty well.
I love it when that happens.
Yeah. Well, I still have opportunities to rant on the show. When I don't have a guest, I'll talk about what's going on. So I still get that in.
You should have some debates.
I've had some.
I've heard a few, but like a real heated.
Oh,
I'm just playing.
I know, but I don't mind having debates with people with
who are respectful.
With a different perspective, as long as we keep it, within the lanes and all this other stuff. And so far we've had, I don't think I've ever had a acrimonious interview of any kind, and that's the way I want it. I mean, they get enough of that. The world gets enough of that on TV and radio. They get all the trash talking of each other they can stand. I mean, Facebook is like navigating a minefield sometimes, and I put stuff on Facebook of a political nature, and the majority of the responses are usually, if they disagree, are respectful. But then I get some that are Lord, cool. I mean, that's a bit harsh, bro. But this is exactly true. Though we'll go back to Pac-Man because this is really a tough time for a lot of the food pantries.
So important
because of the lack of the federal meals. We don't get the breakfast and lunches at the schools.
Can you believe that there are 250 children in Burleson ISD that even need this? That's a lot of kids.
I had more than that. I could tell you that just from,
really?
I have 2 or 3 friends that work the Kids Eat Free program at Promises, and they don't lack for business. Okay, now there may be some overlap in the number of kids, whatever, but they get a bunch.
Well, you know what? And I've heard this too, and not being political. And I'm going to tell you what my mom would say about that overlap. I would rather feed 1,000 kids who don't truly need it than to miss one who really does.
Well, no, that's not really what I meant.
Oh, when you said overlap, I thought maybe you meant.
No, there's some of these kids probably go to Promises too, and that's fine because, whatever we give them, it's not going to feed them for an entire week.
Oh, of course, yeah.
All right, it's going to feed them for 2-3 days. So, no, absolutely. What I mean to say, I want to say more clearly.
Well, maybe I misunderstood.
I just want to make sure, some of these kids probably go from place to place during the week. And because
as a necessity.
Out of necessity. Yeah. I mean, as generous as these food banks are, they have a lot of needs. So they're not in a place where they can give you 2 weeks worth of groceries at one time.
And what I love about Pac-Man is food banks are awesome, and they give a lot of them get fresh food, fresh vegetables, canned food. Pac-Man only gives the kids things that they can make themselves.
Well, that's what the Kids Eat Free is asked. Like if you're gonna give them like a can of ravioli, make pop top, and just pull it.
They're not giving them even a box of mac and cheese. We're not doing that. We're giving them something a kindergartner can make, or a senior in high school.
What we focus on is cereal and peanut butter and jelly, and it's tough to keep that in there.
And see, peanut butter, they don't do peanuts because where do the kids go that have the peanut? Yeah.
Well, the kids, they have options in what they get. Okay,
well, that's good.
So it isn't like, you know, I don't care what your problem is, kid. You're getting this peanut butter.
Oh,
you know?
no, I know they wouldn't do that. I'm just saying that sometimes that's all they might have donated.
Yeah, they ask for like SpaghettiOs and stuff like that. Vienna sausage, which I love, which my wife thinks is terrible, and I like.
Well, I told you what my kids said about that.
Go ahead.
When they looked at the thing, they were like, "Mom, you can't buy Vienna sausages. None of us want that."
Josh, you like Vienna sausages?
Not particularly.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
I ate that growing up, but now I don't eat a lot of meat, and so that grosses me out.
Well, also, the cereal was a big one for us.
Yeah.
All right, and so that's also, you know, they have fruit cups and they have ramen noodles, which I always associate ramen noodles with college kids, you know, because that's what they would do is they would heat up some water in the dorm room and pour it into a cup, and that was their meal and all this. But you know, we get breakfast bars and things like that. But it's all these things where are necessary, and where can they drop off food or make a donation to it, either physically or financially?
Okay.
Where can they do this?
At the Methodist Church right there on McAllister. And Hackman drops off food at the campuses, like at each school campuses, or each school campus, on Fridays. So the kids have food on the weekend, and then they're doing helping them during the summer too.
The thing about it is, I've talked to the people who run these harvest houses, et cetera. They do have a lot of concurrent clientele because food stamps doesn't go very far.
No, it does not.
And basically, if they are totally surviving strictly on food donations from the pantries, they're not doing well, because basically they think they could probably provide between all of them maybe half a month's worth of food, and if you've got more kids, obviously that's even less so. So that's why the giving has to really pick up steam during the summertime. So Methodist Church, you donate any way you want, money-wise,
the information is down at the bottom. The director,
Cindy Mendoza, the director of missions. Well, this definitely is what a Christ-centered mission's about, feeding the poor.
Yes.
And I've been in those waiting rooms, and it's not a lot of people who have never experienced being around a food pantry. They think they're all a certain type of people, right? You know, homeless or it's not at all. A lot of these people have jobs and are working, but then they had a medical bill or a car bill, and they couldn't, and they had to pay the rent, but they didn't have enough money for the groceries. And because I walk in there and I see people that are, they don't look like the poor, disheveled people you'd find under a bridge. No. They're just they got into a bad spot because they were going check to check, month to month, and then
I feel like it could happen to any of us. With all the medical problems I have, even with our insurance. Like, I remember a time, and we've been blessed not to have to do this, but I remember a time when I had my tumor and they wanted $7,000 from my deductible and weren't going to operate unless I came up with it. And I had twins that were 3 years old, and we couldn't get WIC or any assistance. And, and basically they tell you, come back when you're dying and we will stabilize you. But by then it would have turned to cancer. And this could happen to any of us.
I've talked to a couple of people, because I don't really want to engage with people that are using our services at Promises, because they may be self-conscious.
Of course.
And
respect is.
And they want to respect their privacy. But there have been a couple of times when I would just, they would say, thank you for doing this. I wouldn't be here, but I had a $2,500 car payment or a repair bill, and I just didn't have the money and that kind of thing. And but usually when I go there, I try to allow them their space, so to speak, because a lot of these people are not comfortable doing that, and hopefully we make it more comfortable. And we also want to make it real plain to them, even though it's part of First Baptist Church, you don't have to be Baptist, certainly. You don't have to be really a believer. You just need food.
That's that's what's good about this. Like I said, they make a drop at the school, so it's not just, but not being political at all. If the church did, and when I say the church, I'm not talking about a building. I'm talking about myself. Like, if we did what Jesus called us to do, we wouldn't have to complain about the government not that we're giving them a pass, because they definitely don't get a pass. But we need to start picking up some slack.
Yeah, you got to pick up our game. Step up our paper. Is that what you guys say?
I don't know the new lingo.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I have Josh here. Is that what they say? Bump up the paper or whatever?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, sure. You know, that'd be really nifty. Anyway, tomorrow we're going to have Tim Jones on with the Property Tax Justice Foundation. We're going to talk more about the flaws in the evaluation process of your property and also what you can do about it, because the deadline's coming very quickly. I think it's July 2nd. After that, I don't know all the details. Let Kim talk about that. I asked her very nicely, decaf Kim, okay?
Yeah, we're going to have 75 slides again.
I don't know. I don't know. She's on fire about this.
She's more organized than I am.
Yeah. And so, anything you'd like to say and finish the show out for us?
I'm trying to think. Well, this book is about my mom. When you posted that I was going to be a guest, you had mentioned overcoming disability. I'm never going to overcome my disability, which is okay with me, because I'm going to do everything I can to make a difference with my disability. So I wasn't offended or anything. I'm just saying, but this book was to honor my mom, and I try every day in whatever I'm doing. I want to make all her sacrifices be worth it.
Well, I wouldn't want to, dispute you on your definition, but to anybody that's done what you've done, raised a family, written a book, you have not let your disability define you. I'll put it that way.
Of course.
It hasn't been like, well, I have a disability, therefore. No, you have overcome that. That's what I really meant.
Well, I know. Thank you. I just, and I agree. I don't want someone to look at me and say, there's the say. No, and going back to school, intentions are well, that when I was younger, I didn't want to be patronized, so if I have to end on something, just being on the Burleson Disability Advocacy Board, treat us like everyone else.
Okay.
There's at the end of the other day, I used the word handicap for talking about parking, and someone told me I wasn't allowed to use the word handicap, and I was the only disabled person in the room. I'm handicapped. It's okay. We can use that word.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All righty. Well, Josh, thanks for everything. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. We could do this again and talk about your foundation.
Okay.
And like I said, August is wide open. We can do it towards the end of August or something like that.
I've got lots of stuff to talk about.
I bet. We could do this again. And you can tell me how your book is holding up.
Okay.
And things of that nature. And I bet I'll see you at Otto's. Yeah, I'll be, like I said, next Monday I'll be having pizza, I know, with my friend John. So
I'll have to bring you a chest shirt you can wear around.
Okay. Whatever. Extra large. Anyway. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. And share this with your friends. And we will see you tomorrow at 11.